Today we are with Mr. Carney. It is the height of allergy and cold season, so please forgive us for the intermittent coughing, and we'll try not to sniffle in the microphones here. But as it goes, we'll do the best we can. But we do have today with us Mr. Carney. We do want to thank those listeners we've had so far to our work. We have one episode in the can still, as it were. Our episode with Mr. Clark will come out when you're watching this, it's already come out. We're time traveling with this, Mr. Carney. But today, Mrs. Kamara and I have Mr. Carney, our esteemed colleague of great Oak Hill fame. I think, as I've said before, Mr. Carney, when people come back to our school, they beeline down to your room.
I have to start though, because I think about what I'm doing here and how much I appreciate it being invited to do this. And then I was thinking about Mr. Young. I honestly didn't know you'd be here today, Ms. Kamara. This is nice. It's a nice addition to
Oh, thank you.
We needed. I need some balance in my life.
And it's only because I only spoke to Jeremy about this.
Too much of me.
It wasn't because I didn't think of you. I just thought it was me and Jeremy.
We've all decided no one needs too much of me.
But then I was thinking about how, Mr. Young, you are always at the forefront of student publishing. And I thought to myself, since I've known you, you've been the guy that gets students published. Whether it's been, and forgive me for forgetting the names of the publications, but student publication, they're out there. They still exist, and now it's podcasting.
That's very kind of you.
So, and putting it out there, and a lot of times, teachers just don't want to do that. They don't want to extend themselves to the point where their students' products are becoming public. And you do that. You've always been doing that, and not just podcasting. I want people to know that. This isn't just 2026, a Jeremy Young thing. This is a Jeremy Young thing for 20 years. And so
you are very kind.
Well,
but back to you.
Absolutely true, though. Would you agree with that, Mr.
Well, thank you.
I would agree.
Absolutely true.
Yep.
I'm getting red. Maybe it's a fever. No.
It's true, though. I
you.
don't think a lot of people know that. I think about other teachers, and they have, Mr. Fuller has the band, right? So they perform. There's always that performance aspect, right? Art teacher, right, has art, right? And people see it, right? But English teachers rarely share their students' products, right? And I don't know about social studies teachers. You can speak for them. And you've always been doing that, putting it out there. So good for you.
Well, and I think part of the podcast here too of let's build some exemplars. Not that I'm going to be the most brilliant host. I'm learning. But if we are, my ums are an example of that. I got to stop those. Episode 1 is full of them. It's not good. Better than an But we are working to do that, and part of learning and having kids learn is to also learn with them.
Absolutely.
And figure stuff out and try things. And so I guess as many of the things I do or try to do have multiple rationales or reasons. If I'm going to have a podcasting class where I ask kids to be on camera and present themselves, I should be prepared to do it too. And you're going to struggle at times. I'm going to mess up stuff. I can point to and let the kids look at it and say, critique me, go for it. What did I do wrong? What can I do better? Because
I think that's so important too, that going into a project knowing that I'm not going to get it right the first time, and it's okay to try it anyways. I feel like there are more today in teaching than in the past, where students are so unsure of their work and so afraid to hand in a draft.
Well said.
And there's not a whole lot of confidence in their first try. And being okay that it's not going to be it's not going to be your best, but that's okay, because that's where the learning happens.
Well, and in English class, as you know, there's drafting. Your first draft shouldn't be your best draft. It's the first attempt. It's the first try. You're able to edit and switch things up and fix things. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to edit things perhaps. I mean, the first episode, I put on some underlying music you might have heard, might not have heard. It may not have come out quite as loud as I wanted it to. I put on some nice little captions. At times you will see if you watch it, when you call me a nerd, it calls me a nerd on the bottom of the screen.
That's true.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's
when
good. I didn't say it loud enough. In other words, they needed the.
no,
closed
I just
captioning.
I wanted to wear it with pride.
Oh, there you go.
When I call it, I think I put down like that you were a Sam's Italian ambassador
Oh yeah.
at one point on yours. So we add things, we embellish things, we change things. It wasn't the first draft. I added some things to highlight some stuff. And sometimes I think the bar of it must be perfect to be a 4, which is what some kids have in their minds, isn't really that. It's the thinking, it's the process,
Right.
it's all the other stuff. So,
Well said.
but this is, hopefully also we're giving kids some fun outlets and things to experience. And I think I would have. I might be very wrong. Thinking back to when I was a kid, if I could have published online with no cost, if I could have made videos and put them on YouTube for the cost of a camera, which is really my cell phone right today, I would have had a YouTube channel. If I could have, and I don't now. This is right. I don't really now, but part of that's because I'm an adult and I don't have time.
Right.
If I was a kid and had all that free time, I know kids don't feel like they have free time. My daughter, my son never had free time, and yet they had a lot of free time.
Free time.
So
Yes.
all that time you're spending playing video games or doing yes, you had plenty of free time. However, I get it. But I would have been over the moon to publish poetry or short stories or write essays, proving weird points that only I cared about a movie I saw. Or taking videos of my friends skateboarding and mashing it up with music or whatever it would have been. I would have had all this stuff just as a creative outlet to have fun with. And it doesn't have to be always super serious. Like we could have come into this super scripted with all this stuff and we're practicing day and night getting it perfect. I don't really want that. I want it to be in the moment and us doing our thing and off the cuff. And I can't wait till the first time I have to edit somebody because they swear or just get rid of it entirely because that's going to happen after a long day of teaching. I'm going to have an adult who sits down with us and just forgets for a minute. And maybe Mr. Carney in 5 minutes. Who knows?
And since we're all teachers here, that also makes me think about how there's definitely a shift in teaching. There's definitely a shift in education, right? Where students still expect us to know everything. And they expect, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, if I give an assignment, they expect me to know everything about the assignment, right? And I think what you're saying, Mr. Young, is that something like this, there's learning going on all the time. And you don't know everything about this. And you're going to learn with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's still something that is occurring. But right now, I think students still expect me to know all the answers, how to spell every word, how to do everything, right? And I think it's good that we can begin to admit that we don't know everything, but we can find out.
Just don't tell your kids that, though.
I tell my kids I don't know all the time.
My kids.
Oh.
My kids. I know everything. No, not at all. No, I think that's fair. And I think the biggest thing about being a new teacher versus now a seasoned professional, at least a graying hair professional, is the ability to admit I don't know everything, or let's look it up together, or why would I know that even?
help me out.
Where I wanted to like go in knowing everything and being the authority in the room and having all my bases covered, and felt a little, not necessarily embarrassed, but a little.
Sure. No, and I'm not suggesting teachers don't need to do that. I'm not suggesting teachers don't need to be prepared.
No, I know saying like when I was young,
Yes.
I thought I had to have all these answers.
Absolutely.
And when I got older, I was like,
yes.
I can like let off a lot of stress
Yes.
by just being, I don't know the answer.
Acknowledge
I haven't read
that
every
we're gonna
novel
find the answer
ever.
together. So we've been around long enough to remember what's the expression. So I'm missing a word here. It's the sage. You're shifting from being the sage to the guide on the side.
Or at the stage on the stage.
The sage on the stage. That's it. And we must have heard that 20 years ago? I'm going to say at least 15 years ago, where we were being encouraged to stop being the sage on the stage and to begin being the guide on the side.
I would really like to be able to have said, it couldn't be 20 years ago, Mr. Carney. I wasn't
Okay.
Oh, no, I was here 20
Okay.
years ago.
That's all right. So it must have been like
It could have been 20 years ago. It could have been 20.
15
Yeah,
years
it's
ago.
when
Would
we
you
made
agree?
the shift to
Yes.
mass customized
Yes.
learning, which
Yes.
I always found to be an oxymoron.
Fair.
En masse, we're going to individually customize your learning, which just made no sense to me.
Well,
And
That's fair.
I think I think that you do need to be a sage in your content
Yes. Fair.
to a degree.
Yes, and I wasn't
can't-
suggesting otherwise.
Yeah.
well, and there are moments certainly where you are going to be the authority in the room. You are bringing that information in. You have to. But I have kids, and I took offense to it sort of for a while. Have you read this book? No.
Right. Right.
What do you mean you've never read this book?
Yes. Yes.
Well, that author I've never heard of.
Yes.
In a genre I don't care about.
Yes.
And no, I had not heard about this obscure romance novelist that you
Right.
dig. And I'm glad you dig that.
point.
I'm glad you dig it. But, and then be like, what do you mean, Mr. Young, you haven't read that book before? How? And just upset with me that I haven't read every single novel of all time.
Ever written.
Right.
So some of those things. I love being off track. My students would tell you
It
that
was by design.
probably.
It was completely by design.
But we should mention while we're here again, we are here in part because we are asking teachers about how they got here from there. And I love Mr. Carney's t-shirt.
Is it Taco Bell?
It's Taco Bell. Mr. Carney says Taco Bell.
I didn't know that. Okay, so first, the assumption in my mind is that Taco Bell job is a job when you're a teenager. So I assume that. But I also don't want to insult you when I say this. I didn't know Taco Bell has been around that long.
Well, it has, Miss Camary.
Because maybe it was just late coming to Maine, perhaps?
Oh, yes.
Mid 80s, I'm told.
Oh, yes.
I looked it up a little while ago.
Really? I don't.
Apparently one in the Brunswick area, I guess, or something.
So that leads me to mention that I did my homework and I watched your podcast to be sure I knew what I was getting into. And I thought that was interesting because the two of you discussed how your t-shirt was an indication of how you went into teaching.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think they corresponded that way.
Okay.
And I don't think they all work that way, but I always sort of did.
I chose mine for student benefit,
Yes.
to let students know that I turned out okay, and I didn't go to
That's-
college. I didn't go to college right
That's still
away.
up for debate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there's truth to that as well. But I turned out I'm not a criminal.
You're not a criminal.
We'll put it that way. And
You are
I
a protective.
think
You're a productive member of society.
I pay my taxes.
We're all fingerprinted. We're not
I
criminals.
mean, I am able to work this
That's
job.
right. That's right.
So I would put that in the category of okay.
Yes. No problem.
But I did do that for student benefit, just letting them know that it's okay. You don't have to keep going with school right away, or at all if you don't want to. There's lots of ways to be okay.
And I have so many seniors right now who are struggling with the idea of, I have to know now.
Yeah.
And so kind of like, and even in conversations in the fall with students about, you don't have to know your major right now. People change majors. They change schools. They change jobs. They change careers. They change states. They change. And I'm not a great example of that. My life has been very boring. I married my high school girlfriend. I knew my major was going to be in college. I've only had one. I went to one school. I live on the same street that I moved in on the first time, basically. So I can see my old apartment from my house. I've only had one job since I've left college. I'm not a good example of any of those things. I'm very boring that way.
I would call you loyal.
I appreciate the positive spin.
But that's another journey.
And it is. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that. So my mother once time was upset about my brother, like not knowing certain things and having a lot of fluctuation in his life. And she was like, why can't this be like you? And my answer was, I'm actually not normal. This isn't the way things go for most people. And I know it's probably easier as a parent.
Right.
And I'm sure all those parents out there would love if their kid just knew all those things and all those boxes got checked and went right down the line super easy. But I think Miss Kamari's journey of uncertainty, figuring it out, not knowing right away, either before college, in college, after college, somewhere in that line happens. And so having an adult speak to that is super important. So it did make sense, I think, that our journeys were juxtaposed that way, because mine was very much focused and one-track mind and has worked out that way. But again, it might be ideal from a parental's perspective. Having a son in the Navy and his course getting there a little bit uncertain at times. It would have been nice to have like all those things. I get that.
Sure.
But that's just not the way most things go. And I think it's okay for kids and parents too to hear that and understand, the amount of times kids are expected to, kids will likely change career fields, not even just jobs, but whole career fields, because of the economy is really, it's a certain factor, right? It's not normal to have one career field even anymore. So it wasn't on purpose necessarily for that to work out that way, but it certainly, I think, is helpful right from the sort of jump of our podcast to be, let's just put these two things in perspective. And the truth is probably more on Kamari's side for most people than mine.
What do you mean?
As far as people having that uncertainty and figuring stuff out and not going super like straight as an arrow. Right. Where mine, again, you're nice to say it's loyalty. Yeah. But it's also a bit just.
Well, and I mean, the truth is, like, I was able to go to college because I could, right? Like, I could go to college. So, for me, I feel a certain amount of privilege in that because it was affordable. I could go. Like, why wouldn't I want to do that? Right.
Sure.
I mean, that was a big part of it for me. Like, of course I want to go to college and I can do it. Right. So in that sense, to take a year off for me probably would have been a sign where I wasn't going to go. Yeah. I mean, that probably is what would have happened to me. So I think about like how the two of you were maybe speaking about what brought you to teaching. And for me, it was more about what brought me to Oak Hill. It's really what I was kind of thinking about when I thought about my T-shirt.
Taco Bell brought you to Oak Hill?
Well, it was a step on the way to Oak Hill, right? Because I was actually already teaching when I worked at Taco Bell. So, had the daytime teaching job, and then Taco Bell was on weekends. So
you got paid that much teaching, huh?
Yeah, and I don't want to reveal what I got paid in that first teaching job, right? Because I was also 24. So you mentioned, was I 24? I was 23. I was like 23 years old. So you mentioned like working at Taco Bell as a teenager, but I was actually an adult. I mean, I was probably one of the older ones in the building, believe it or not, at 23 years old. And I also had a day job, which a lot of them didn't have. Like they worked at Taco Bell.
Right.
And so it was kind of a unique situation, right, to be in. And yes, my salary was low as a teacher, first-year teacher, just starting out. It was also a Catholic school. So, even lower in that sense.
Was that in the state of Maine?
No, this was in Rhode Island, actually. Yeah. So North Providence, Rhode Island. So I was living in Rhode Island I lived in Rhode Island for a couple of years, had a teaching job at a Catholic elementary school, and then needed more money, And so that was all about seventh grade, yeah. So that was all about like getting more money, and Taco Bell was willing to pay me.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that private schools often pay less than public schools. People think it's more prestigious, and there may be a different name to those schools and different background, and but pay for teachers. And sometimes, I don't know if this was your situation, but sometimes teachers also like have to do a club or a sport or something else as well. So not only is it paying less, but also they're forced with no more pay to actually do more.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. I mean, Catholic schools were able to survive because, they would hire first-year teachers. they would hire people who had retired and wanted to come back to teaching and things like that. And so, you know, it just didn't pay a lot. And so, you know, here I am 23 and needed another job, and Taco Bell fit the bill, you know? And so as a kid, you know, growing up, there was Taco Bell, and I was telling this to Mr. Young earlier, there was also Taco Viva. Growing up in Miami, there were two taco joints, Taco Bell and Taco Viva. And then so when I'm in Rhode Island, I realized like Taco Bell was taking off. And I'm like, I want to be at Taco Bell. So I got a job there. Huh. But the reason I put on my t-shirt is because it was a step in the right direction. It was a learning experience working and I'd worked at a fast food restaurant before. I'd worked at Pizza Hut in high school. And then later on in my 20s, I'm working at Taco Bell. And that was a real learning experience for me. And part of that was a learning experience about being in New England, because I just moved to New England. So, you know, you may or may not know that I did not grow up around here. So I'm in Rhode Island. It's my first taste of winter. It's my first taste of living in a state that's much older than anywhere else I'd lived before. And just the way there were more traditions and there were more like set ways of doing things, I think, in Rhode Island.
When you say older, do you mean demographically the people are older, or older in its history?
No, just the entire state. Like everything about the state was older. Right? I mean, think about it, right? Rhode Island, right? It's like ancient, right?
Well, I mean, is anything in the United States ancient?
That's fair.
That's
fair.
of the colonial
That's
period,
fair.
right?
History teacher.
Yeah.
Yep,
What's some
absolutely.
perspective there?
I guess I'm just talking about like driving by a building,
That was built in the 17 or 1800s.
Brown University is in Rhode Island, right? And so
Sure.
just like seeing Brown University and realizing like, wow, this is a really old place,
Yeah.
right? Stuff like that,
Yeah.
that I just didn't see where I was, growing up. And so moving to Rhode Island was a real learning experience for me, because it was all about, coming to New England and getting exposed to what it's like to live up here. And do I want to continue to live up here? Right. And so that's why Taco Bell was a part of my journey to Oak Hill.
Where did you go to college?
A little university called St. Thomas University, which is about an hour north of Miami. So growing up in Miami, there was this small little college called Biscayne College, and it was a Catholic college. And so I'd gone to a Catholic high school, and so it made sense to continue that, right? And my mom loved that too. So I was able to drive an hour north and get my degree there, and it changed its name to St. Thomas University at some point, and that's where I met Suzanne, my wife. And then I had graduated. She hadn't. She had 2 more years. She decides to go to Bryant University, which is in Rhode Island. And I'm like, well, I'm going too. I'm going to Rhode Island. And I'm in Rhode Island. She's at Bryant University. I'm in Rhode Island, teaching and being a 23-year-old new teacher who had a job at Taco Bell.
And slinging tacos.
And slinging tacos on the weekends. That's right. So it really was a step. And then, of course, after 2 years, so then we left Rhode Island because Suzanne graduated. And then that allowed me to move also. So it was time to move. And we came to Maine. And so that's how I ended up in Maine. And so it was and that's where the journey really comes in for me, right? Like, it wasn't about a journey to teaching. It was about a journey to Maine. Yeah. And coming to Oak Hill.
Yeah. Has Oak Hill been your only high school that you've worked at in Maine?
In Maine, yes, other than adult education. So I actually began teaching in Maine at Lewiston Adult Education. So they actually hired me before Oak Hill did, and that was kind of a neat job because working with adults was real fulfilling. I mean, it really was a wonderful experience to work with adults and this is 1989, right? So we're talking about it a few years ago. And working with adults who had never finished high school.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like people in their 50s and 60s who had never finished high school and wanted to come back to school. And the whole thought of writing an essay was very intimidating to them.
What motivated them? I mean, they're in their 50s and 60s.
Yes.
They had survived, most of their adult life without a high school diploma.
That's right.
What motivated them to go back? Did they ever talk about that?
That's a really good question. I think in some cases it was about wanting to further their careers and maybe realizing, I think it would help if I had a diploma.
I had a really awesome conversation with I don't think he'd be upset me sharing. My brother's father-in-law. The day of the wedding, we're getting ready and we're chatting. The bride and groom are off doing pictures and all these things. The first look stuff that happens now. And he was almost finished or finishing his GED. He was laid off and he thought he had a job lined up and was told, he had a phone call saying, we'd love you for this job. This is one issue. You didn't put down when you graduated high school. And he had gone to work very early to help his family out. They needed money. He would have been in his teens. This would have been, I'm guessing, the 60s or 70s. I could be a little bit wrong. I might be getting the math wrong on his age. And I don't know that the job he wanted needed it to happen but that's part of hiring now. People think they're being pro-education at times by requiring people to have an education to work there.
Right.
Rather than saying, you don't have one.
Right.
Let's hire you. And part of your goals are going to be to get one in the next year. Right. That would be probably more pro-education than saying, so sorry. And the pride at which he was discussing earning his diploma. And like, I remember getting teary-eyed. Already kind of a heightened day anyways. I was actually performing the ceremony. But just the pride he had in going to school, doing the work. I remember talking about specifically about history class and the work he was doing in that, and just really moving. And I'm guessing that's what you found as well, seeing these people who hadn't been successful, wrote it off in many ways, come back to it, and just the value they had for education was so cool to talk to him about. So,
well, and correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm not positive about the figure, but again, not growing up in Lewiston or Auburn, but hearing about how the dropout rate at Lewiston High School at one point was close to 50%. So you'd come into high school with a class of, I don't know, how big was your high school class?
270 maybe.
And I'm not saying you went to high school in the 70s, but so you come in maybe 250 students and you graduate with 125. I mean, that to me is remarkable.
Yeah.
Right. And certainly as a teacher now, like, thankfully we don't have that situation at Oak Hill. Like, most of our students finish high school. Most of them graduate.
Well, I think too, a lot of that speaks to the job opportunities that were in Maine, right? That's when we still had Supreme Slipper. We still had all of those manufacturing jobs along the river in both Lewiston and Auburn. And it's tempting. I can go out and work this manufacturing job and earn some money and help my family or start my way, or I can sit in here and listen to a history class that's as dull as a spoon.
I think also, though, I know I saw it in my high school a little bit, a couple of different conversations and situations where teachers could kind of run students out of their classes and out of the school by not liking the cut of their jib.
The cut of their jib.
Like that is a nautical reference.
Okay.
But they would really sort of push them out of school based on factors that maybe weren't in the student's control entirely.
Right.
If you're going to act this way, we don't need you here or whatever. Right. And just sort of like shame them into not coming. And we didn't have some of the protections that feels like we have today, or just some of the ethical.
I think certainly we didn't have
issues.
A lot of the identifiable disabilities.
It could be it too.
That, whether it's dyslexia or autism or
well, I mean, ADHD wasn't a thing when we were kids. Right. I mean, I should say it was a thing.
It was there.
Right, but it wasn't understood, wasn't diagnosed. Autism too.
So if you have a kid who can't settle down and can't, sit still for that block of time, all of a sudden they're a behavior problem and they're getting suspended. And why would I go to school if all I do is get in trouble?
Well, I know in my own family, my grandparents didn't even go to high school. Yeah. They both dropped off in middle school. Right. Again, much earlier, they could both get jobs without needing degrees of some sort or diplomas, and did. Also had very different offerings. My grandfather had a Teamsters pension, which, although he's passed, is still paying my grandmother's mortgage. Just a different landscape economically.
And unfortunately today, like young people, fortunately or unfortunately, right? Young people don't have those kinds of jobs available to them, right? I mean, Taco Bell's available, but if someone's 16 years old and really thinking about not being in school anymore, what are their options? Taco Bell? I mean, sure, if you can become a manager, absolutely. And I'm not putting down those jobs at all. I mean, those jobs can be fantastic for people. We've had students who've been very successful in McDonald's or Taco Bell or Starbucks, right? I mean, those jobs pay well. They give a person a real sense of purpose in life. But if you're 16 and you want to work at Taco Bell, one of the things they're probably going to expect you have is a high school diploma if they're going to be promoting you, right?
Right.
There aren't many options. And so you're right. Like, I think it's really interesting the way Ms. Kamari said Supreme Slipper too, because like we can tell Ms. Kamari is from Lewiston, right? Because you knew the name of the factory, right? Like I wouldn't have said that.
Well, it would have been in Newport, Standard Shoe or Dexter Shoe at one point, right? And just having those things, right?
Sure.
So, but those manufacturing jobs have dried up.
Yes.
And I think also the unskilled entry points, right? You become skilled as you do the job, perhaps, but the unskilled entry points that you could have a family on and have an apartment and all these other things just don't exist the same way. I mean, rent in Lewiston is
stupid,
staggering.
Yeah.
So it's a very different situation.
Coming to Oak Hill. So this is early 90s now. So I get hired at Oak Hill 1989. And I remember that was around the time when a large mill closed. It moved to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I don't recall the name of the mill, but it was a big mill. And I recall students at Oak Hill whose parents worked there
Had to move.
who were going to relocate because it was moving to South Carolina and they were going also. And I thought, wow, that would suck. I am in my high school and I found out I have to move. Maybe they wanted to move to South Carolina. I don't know. But I mean, at the same time, like to have to move to South Carolina.
Yeah.
To not have a choice. And and that was one of my introductions to Maine, I think, was moving up here and realizing like what life up here was like for people if they were in manufacturing. And I was fortunate to not have to go that route with work. Right?
And certainly so many of those places have closed in the last 40 years. My parents, when they got married, we lived with them in Mass, but it's a stone's throw, as they might say. My father was a toe laster, which has to do with a certain part of the shoe work, and my mother also helped sew shoes and came up to Maine and did the same thing in Newport. So, luckily my dad ended up moving into repairing equipment and maintaining equipment, and my mom ended up going to college later on. So both moved out of that actual labor work over time. But
wow, that's hard work. Wow. And just like thinking about the changes we've seen as teachers, even right, for the past 40 years since we've been in education, and just sort of seeing those changes, and now the class of 2026 and what they're going to be going into. Certainly some things don't change, right? But certainly some things do. And I think it's a lot more difficult for students today to graduate and then go right into the workforce. It just seems more difficult. Few of them are doing it. Some of them are very good at it, and I'm not saying they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that they've also had some kind of training first. Like they've gone to LRTC.
Right.
They're becoming an electrician.
Or their
becoming
family
a plumber.
has a business
Their
that
family
they've
has
been
a business.
training in.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
It's very hard to just get a diploma and make a living.
I think the job market, it's just shifted so much. And I think also you would be competing against those kids who've done LRTC.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, here's a kid who has a year or two of experience. Am I going to hire that student or that graduate, or a graduate that's starting at zero? And, so it is a great thing. I mean, also, that this kid has some real knowledge under their belt. I think also with what I've seen in certain places too, a lot of kids switch jobs pretty quickly. And if a kid has some LRTC training in the field, they know what the job is and would likely to stay with it.
And speaking of LRTC, like in Taco Bell, like think about what an opportunity that is for our young people to be able to get
I know.
to go to LRTC, go
It's
to
amazing.
culinary arts,
Yeah.
and then go to work in a restaurant. I
Yeah.
mean, I think about that opportunity. Wow. Did you have an LRTC opportunity when you were in high school?
I did, but I did not take advantage of it because I
Interesting.
had no clue what I wanted to do. And I just assumed it would be
Right.
I assumed it would be teaching, or I assumed it would be in physical therapy or nursing, whatever my mom did.
Sure.
It also was a different kind of opportunity back then.
It was.
I don't know
Yes.
about LRTC so much, but I know we had EMTC.
Did you have that option up your way?
So there's a center in Bangor,
Oh, yes. That's right.
and I could have gone there for creative writing. I found out. Probably too late for it to matter.
Yeah.
But
Huh.
they were
an
more of
interesting
the traditional trades at the time.
Right.
They wouldn't have had nursing.
Right.
I don't know if they would have had a culinary program. Maybe nothing like the Green Ladle though.
Remember if there was a culinary program when I was there, it was electrical, automotives, carpentry, machine tool, welding, those plumbing. those
I mean,
basic
basically, at the time would have been thought of as the sort of very masculine trade system,
Sure.
right? Not like now we have like medical science, medical terminology. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of different.
trades. They did have daycare. They did have preschool and early childhood.
I mean, but the offerings they have now are really varied and not all of the. Oh yeah, I guess hands-on in many respects, but not the hands-on jobs I thought of then, right? I mean, so a very different purpose even, which is really
like,
cool.
Just like the ability to be a certified nurse's assistant out of high school and to be able to command, and I'm thinking you must make $15 an hour.
Well, I would think that hopefully they would make more than that because that's minimum wage
Me
right now.
too, yes,
You know what I
absolutely. And a lot of people don't want to do that work, and we know that a lot of people don't want to be
Right.
CNAs. But at the same time, like, thank goodness people are willing to do that kind of
Right.
work and get paid well for it. They're working really hard, but at the same time, to be able to come out of high school and command that kind of money is
Well, and it's also a great stepping stone to what they want to do next. They have
Yes.
an example of what the job
Yes.
will entail and can work towards it,
Yep.
and also based on the students I have in class, there are plenty of hours for them often to have. I also recall some really cool conversations about students who weren't happy with their adult counterparts at times. Like I work my butt off, they don't.
Yes.
And sort of understanding work ethic and how it sort of what you're talking about with your subway experience. So
Yeah.
I'm here a short time.
Yeah.
I know what I want out of this. I'm doing this for a certain amount of time. I'm going to college next, or advancing my career, or want to be a manager, or whatever it is. And so using that as a stepping stone to understand the next part of their journey.
But I think every job is a lesson, right? Like I think you have to go into every work, and I guess I'm primarily talking to young people here, right? I think you have to go into every job with an open mind that you can learn something from this experience, even if it isn't necessarily a like I didn't learn any skills at Taco Bell, but I did learn how to get along with people.
Yeah.
That's a
I
skill.
absolutely learned how to
That's
get
a-
along
that's
with
a
people.
skill.
Well, I meant like I didn't really learn it, right? Right?
Yeah.
You're right.
It's a soft skill. It's not hard skill. It's a
It's,
soft
it's,
skill.
a, it's one of the most important soft skills we have.
Sure.
And it was a different environment too.
What lessons have you learned at Oak Hill?
So when I think about Oak Hill, being a teacher, right? Because this is, I've been a high school teacher now for quite a while. Certainly, like interacting with students and trying to figure out like what motivates students, and realizing that you probably can't assume anything because you're probably wrong, and just realizing that motivation that you try to instill in students is sometimes very difficult to determine, and then you have to be patient, and it may not work over the course of a year, and you may never connect with a student, but they're going to connect with somebody else, and to not be sensitive about that, right? Not every student is going to necessarily like me as a teacher, right? and to just sort of accept that. And, you know, you tried your best, you tried to connect with somebody, but somebody else found a way to motivate them, found a way to guide them on their way.
Yeah.
So that's certainly been an important lesson for me. And also to not take things too seriously. I think I've definitely learned that, right? Like, and just to remember, like, English class is 80 minutes in a student's life every day, every other day. And that, you know, I'm living it 7 days a week, right? Thinking about English class 7 days a week, but they're not.
Right.
And to not take that too seriously, right? This is something I need you to do for 80 minutes. I know you may not think about this again for another 3 days, right? If it's a Friday, you may not think about this again until Tuesday.
Yeah.
And to not get offended by that, to not take myself too seriously.
Yeah. It reminds me, actually, it was this semester. I had a student ask, what happens if I don't pass this test or whatever? What if I don't get the credit?
Right.
And I said, well, then it's going to ruin your life. My U.S. history class.
Oh, my gosh.
She knew I was being sarcastic.
Right.
My U.S. history class
Right.
at Oak Hill High School in Sabattis, Maine is that important. You know, and there were moments and years of my teaching career where I wanted to hold the line so tight. Mm-hmm. And that's a lesson that I've learned at Oak Hill, is that, boy, these kids deal with a lot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And especially, I really do think it's since COVID.
Yes.
There's such a heightened anxiety and a loss of confidence. And I just see so many kids are just kind of in this almost a flight mode. Mm-hmm. And I just want to let them know that, like, it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. The fact that you don't know about the Great Depression is not going to impact your life. You're gonna be okay about that. It happens to be a state mandate that you got to take a U.S. history class.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
You know, which, yeah.
Not taking yourself too seriously.
Not taking myself too seriously anymore. I mean, I was very serious as a younger teacher.
And that helps me think of this perspective, right? My son-in-law is English, and I recall asking him once about the American Revolution, thinking that he would know a lot about the American Revolution. And I'm thinking, oh, you know, what's your perspective on this, being English? And, you know, you're visiting us in the United States. Like, what's your perspective? And he says, completely seriously, like, not as a joke at all, but he says, we didn't study the American Revolution.
Right.
He said, as an English person, like, our country was involved in so many revolutions.
Right.
Yeah. The American Revolution just didn't make the cut.
Right.
Well, and not only that, but also, do you really take time to study your losses?
Fair. But you should definitely.
Civic pride generally says we're going to look at the wins, right?
But you learn from your mistakes,
of
right?
course.
Let's not forget Jalen Hurts.
Of course.
You win or you learn.
I
I had to work Jalen in there.
I was gonna famous Phillies fan, Mr.
Eagles.
Well,
Eagles.
We get birds.
I was going to say Philadelphia. I said
Philadelphia's
Phillies.
fine, yes.
Philadelphia fan. I think also the thing from going a little bit with what both of you are saying with students too is understanding that what it means to be a teenager today, although structurally the same as far as many of the emotional situations and the space and sort of like, I'm not quite an adult yet, but I'm not a kid anymore, and figuring that stuff out is very structurally similar. But the phone and the number of contacts and
they're exposed to so much at such a young age.
well, there's that, but also I never would have had that many interactions in a day with people,
right.
right?
Well
and
said.
managing that many friendships or whatever. I mean, there are reasons for me personally. I mentioned today earlier, we're talking about objectivity and actually using this room for students and how they were able to record themselves and see themselves and then objectively discuss their performance in a conversation. I never knew as a kid that in group pictures, I thought it was in the group picture. I was, but I'm kind of like not kind of the group picture. So for me, I probably wouldn't have had that many interactions with the cell phone anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because of my personality, and that'd be fine with me. But I'll talk to my daughter or my son when my son was in high school about something that's happening, and it's like, that's like hours ago, Dad.
Hours ago.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
That's just gone now. Like we moved past that so far, and like
Yeah.
that would not have moved that quickly when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so there's so many other things that they're dealing with at times, and sometimes it's very real. Sometimes it's very real to them, and it's not really that real. But again, with high school being itself, and the your social life being so important as a teenager, there's so much more of it with a cell phone, I think, and what changes things too. So for me, partially understanding that piece of how things have changed over time is really cool, really big, nerve-wracking, scary sometimes as a parent too, but
Yeah.
that's definitely a change.
And that's a good example of the kinds of things we're learning, right? Because
Right.
certainly, we began this conversation talking about podcasting and how you're learning as you're going sometimes. And I'm thinking about, and you just asked me, Miss Kamara, like, what are some of the things I've learned? I've learned a lot about smartphones and about student interaction with smartphones,
Yes.
and about how those tools work over the last, say, 10 years. And I'm thinking about, we're learning a lot about it. We're still learning about that,
Yeah.
right? Like there's so much to figure out about this. And that's something we all have to learn together. And I think that's, how can I use that tool to my advantage and not make it a barrier to learning, which unfortunately, like, it's often a barrier to learning. And even if that's just me trying to get a student to put away their smartphone, or to try to get them to put their smartphone in a little box, it's often a barrier to learning.
Well, and sometimes a barrier that next year, state law,
And there's that.
right? So
Exactly.
society has said
We have to figure
it's
that
too
out.
much of a barrier, right? Which is going to be interesting to navigate. One more new thing in this journey of teaching to navigate.
Yes.
Should be.
It's a journey, all right.
Well,
I think
that came full circle,
it did.
which is perfect time.
I think it is. So we are
For our
going
rapid
we are evolving this podcast on a daily basis almost, as we chat about things. And so Mr. Carney will be the first victim, participant. That's a better word.
Say.
Of our rapid fire questionnaire. Do we have a name for this questionnaire?
I don't know.
Getting to know you.
Getting to know you.
Or we'll figure it out.
Or,
I mean, we'll name things as we go.
I will preface this that I've stolen some of these questions from the Colbert questionnaire.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, and
There's some good questions.
and not only that, but since he's going off air, someone should use
he's
them.
still on air.
I'm just going off air. I didn't say
Okay.
gone
Oh,
yet.
okay.
But it's
Still have 2 more shows.
I understand. I'm just saying, since it's going to be no longer of use to him, it should live on in some way.
It should live on in some way.
So a bit of a homage.
It is. Not all of these questions are from that. Some
No.
of them are.
Okay. So looking for a word, a phrase, something quick here.
Rapid fire. Are you ready?
So
Mr.
you
Carney?
don't want a full answer.
Oh no. You can give a full answer, but we're gonna you give a short answer.
And this is the first time through. So if we have to just do
Got
a
it.
little prompting, little explanation, that'll
I'm
tell
thinking
us.
you're going to ask me my favorite color.
We do
And
better.
I'll say green.
That's the kind of
It's
thing.
the type
good.
of thing we're
Good.
asking.
Good. I worked that in there.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Mr. Carney, what is your favorite summer vacation activity?
Favorite summer vacation activity? I'm going to say waking up early and having cross-country practice.
Really?
From 6:30 to 8,
Is that
Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, beginning June 16th.
I like how I did that.
You got a little plug in
That
there.
was smooth.
Thank you.
Is that a vacation from school though?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Being able to be outside at 6:30 in the morning.
Nothing like
Absolutely.
it.
Nothing like it.
All right. I like it.
Your favorite school sound?
Well, that's a good question. I'm gonna say, oh wow, favorite school sound. I'm gonna say a song coming over the intercom in the morning as the day begins.
I like that.
Thank you.
Mr. Carney, what is the best sandwich?
The best sandwich. The Elena Ruth.
Ooh, what is that?
It's turkey, cream cheese, and jelly.
Ooh,
What kind of jelly?
Strawberry.
okay.
I mean, I'm out like 3 times.
Is that a Miami thing?
It's a Cuban sandwich. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I shouldn't say a Cuban sandwich. It's a sandwich
It's a play
that's
off
popular
of
with Cuban. Yes.
Is there
exactly.
is there a type of bread it's on?
I think it's on a white. Yes, I'm going to say a white bread. Not a roll. It's on bread. Yes, I'm glad you said that, Mr. Young. Not a roll, but bread.
Okay.
The Elena Ruth.
Favorite board game?
Risk.
I like that.
Yep.
Mountains, beach, or city?
City. That was easy.
What is the scariest animal?
Scariest animal. Got to go with the polar bear.
Really?
Absolutely terrifying.
Why?
Bears in general are terrifying.
Again, he's not from Maine.
But they're cute.
But see, they're not that cute because they will eat you.
They'll rip your face off.
And they look nice, but they're not that nice. You know, it's kind of like,
That's-
right?
Part of their, right?
Let's not conflate dogs and bears.
Mr. Carney, what was your favorite class in high school?
U.S. history.
Was it?
U.S. history.
All right.
Because of the teacher.
Nice.
Because of the teacher. Absolutely. Mr. Gerald Carrig.
Nice.
I'm even going to plug his name.
I like it.
What are you reading right now?
Right now, I am reading the autobiography. Well, it's more of a memoir. It's a memoir of, it's Geddy Lee's memoir. For those of you that don't know, Geddy Lee's in Rush, and he wrote a memoir. And it's called My Effin' Life.
Is that the title? EFF?
That's the title. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think he had to censor it.
Gotcha.
Right? But it's Geddy Lee.
All right.
That's right.
What is the most useless talent you have?
Knowledge of 80s music.
Oh, I like it. Yes.
Like, how important is that? Sure.
Not
Maybe
at
at
all.
trivia, but that's it. You know?
What is one thing that you own that you really should throw out?
Wow. One thing I own that I should throw away.
I know for me, my spouse would have many answers
Wow.
of my stuff
That's
to throw
quite a
away.
question.
Not hers,
That
but
is
my
quite a
stuff
question.
to throw away.
I'm going to say the lawnmower. The lawnmower was a wedding gift, and we got married 37 years ago. And I think probably the lawnmower is contributing to greenhouse gases.
Is it a Craftsman? How's it
global
lasting this
warming.
long?
It's a Craftsman.
It still works.
It's still working. It's a
a Craftsman.
Craftsman. It's an incredible lawnmower. It's 37 years old, but it's probably past its due. I mean, it's probably due back at the library, right?
When he said 37 years old, I had to guess it was a Craftsman.
It's a Craftsman.
Yeah.
It is.
It had to be.
Yeah.
Mr. Carney, have you ever asked anyone for their autograph?
Many people. I've asked many people for their autograph.
Oh.
So when I would often go to rock concerts myself because I couldn't find anybody to go with me. And pro tip, if you go yourself, you can often get a seat in the front row
Yep.
because there are some seats available. And so you can maybe get your own, a seat in the front row. And I've asked a number of musicians for their autographs. Sure. Absolutely.
Name one.
Neil Young.
Nice. Did you get any?
I did.
All right. Do
I
you
did.
still have them?
Generally, if I asked for it, the person would give it to me. Yes,
That's awesome.
because I was close enough
Yeah.
where they knew what I was going to do
Yeah.
at that point. So
And you
still have it. Still have
have
it.
it.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. Our final one. If you had to listen, this is perhaps a time for your 80s trivia knowledge to come,
Oh,
come
thank
play.
goodness. Thank goodness.
If you had to listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Boy, that's another one. I'm gonna pull out a song by the Faces. I wish I knew. What's the title? It's a tough title. by the Faces. I wish I knew then what I know now. Actually, the song is called Ooh La La. The song is called Ooh La La.
It is.
And the lyric is, I wish I knew then what I knew now.
1973.
That's a fantastic song. And if you haven't heard it, I recommend it. The Faces, Ooh La La.
Bob Seger has a bit of a lyric like that. I think it's in Hollywood Nights, perhaps.
Oh, great song.
I wish I didn't know then what. I wish I didn't know then what I. Shoot.
I want to
Now
go back
can't
and listen to
think.
that song now.
Might
Wow.
not be in Hollywood Nights. I have to look it up. I
Bob
wish I
Seger.
didn't know now what I didn't know then. That's what it is. I wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then.
But I didn't. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm going to go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
By the way, another shameless plug. The Faces, completely underrated 70s band. Completely. Like, if you haven't listened to The Faces, listen to The Faces.
I've never even heard of the Faces.
Rod Stewart. Rod
Oh.
Stewart was in The Faces.
Okay.
And if you like Rod Stewart, you'll love The Faces.
Oh, okay. Down with that.
Although he doesn't sing lead vocal on that song, Ooh La La. But he does harmony.
Mr. Carney,
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure.
thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes,
I'm just an update.
and we are next. We're gonna try and find. I don't know who's next. I have no idea.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I have no idea. We've gotten. We had our self interviews, our co-host interviews, Mr. Clark. We're gonna try and have Mr. Clark come in for his own set of the questions. I feel bad leaving him out of those. We just hadn't developed them in time. We had Mr. Carney, our third, for our third installment, and we have hopefully some more coming up. So keep looking out for more episodes.
I would like to encourage you, if I may, I would like to encourage you to interview a far younger teacher than me. Because let's face it, the people you've interviewed so far have a few years under their belts.
Couple, two
I
trees.
think it's
Yeah.
time to get some,
Strategically,
different perspective.
you're not
Get
wrong.
that.
Strategically, so far, we do know Mr. Clark is leaving. We wanted to
Fair.
make sure,
Fair.
with his variety of interest and experiences,
Fair.
we got him. Basically, Mrs. Gagnon said, "You have to get Mr. Clark," and so I said, "Done." And he was there, so I was like, "Will you?" Yes. And then, Mr. Carney, I have yet to find anyone who doesn't regard you as a fan favorite.
And I am not retiring, by the way. So just
No,
let's
I
make
wasn't-
sure
I
that's
wasn't
clear.
trying to- I
I
wasn't
didn't know
trying
if
to
you were
offer
gonna
that.
like go down the list.
Yes.
That
We
we're
wanted to make sure we got you.
I am not retiring.
We are
So thank
imposing
you for
upon
that.
Mr. Carney. No,
But I
not
think
at
we
all.
just have a wealth of, of teachers who have maybe 1, 2, 3 years under their belts.
I'm hoping this won't happen, but it would be wonderful if these were popular enough where teachers are like, "I'm next, Mr. Young. I have to be next." We'll see.
Make it happen.
What we need to do is, yeah. We have we're
the
gonna have to-
coveted interview.
Again,
The coveted
we're
podcast.
learning some stuff. I got to learn some more stuff about getting these out in some other formats, and I do expect we'll be making more and more progress. But thank you, Mr. Carney.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you also for doing your homework.
Been a pleasure.
If you didn't,
I did.
if you had heard this earlier, Mr. Carney watched an episode.
I did.
We have one out,
That's right.
and Mr. Carney made sure to watch it,
I did.
so he'd be prepared for today.
And that's
Or
a
does-
double episode, actually, because the two of you
It kind
are
of
featured
is.
in it. So it's a double episode.
Which
True.
is how you prep, though, right?
true.
It's how you prep to be a guest. So if you're going to be a guest in the future, like you're hearing about this, watch an episode or two. That way you
It
know
may
what's
get
going on.
you on the podcast faster.
That's-
Like if you tell Mr. Young and Miss Camary that you've watched all the podcasts, they may be more likely to invite you
true.
to the podcast.
That's true.
Well, kind of like LRTC. You know, what
Although-
you're getting into.
Yes.
We'd have to come up with new questions.
I don't know. Well, I think we probably need to throw a couple curveballs in there for each
Curveballs.
person.
Oh, you're talking about the rapid fire questions
Rapid
because you've got a good theme going. Your
Yeah.
journey to Oak Hill,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
No.
yeah.
The rapid fire.
rapid
I
fire.
want them
That's right.
prepped. Off the cuff.
I think we have to probably have a couple of different ones we can change in and change out depending on the person.
I like that.
I mean, I think the last one was perfect for Mr. Carney. because you said 80s music.
It's true.
Although although Ooh La La is 76, still like that's in the wheelhouse. So yeah.
I like it.
Well, the 70s was so deep. Like, I cannot pretend to know everything about the 70s. The 80s I have down pretty well. 70s, though, so vast and deep. Like, you can't even begin to be an expert on the 70s. The 80s, a lot more superficial.
A lot more, which is why I don't like 80s music.
There you go.
Yeah.
But don't forget, U2 was in the 80s also.
Yeah.
So we've got them.
I mean, there are some staples,
That's right.
Guns N' Roses.
Were they really in the 80s?
Weren't they?
Late 80s, early 90s.
87?
I would say really say 90s.
Like, do we count the 80s?
All right.
Would you count 87?
How about Van Halen?
Fair.
Which iteration?
I'll go with Van Halen.
Actually, it began in the 70s.
Yeah.
Their albums were released
Sure.
in the 70s, but kind of bled into the 80s. That's fair.
Same
That's
thing
fair.
with Aerosmith. They're 70s
That's fair.
band into the 80s.
70s is better.
Far
70s is better.
Right.
Far better.
That's what I'm talking about.
Their
The
greatest hits-
80s are
their
terrible.
greatest
Paul
hits-
Simon 80s is terrible.
So I will tell you the Aerosmith greatest hits album with the half logo on it, the red
Something
one.
happened in the
It's
80s.
all you need. That's the only thing you need from Aerosmith is that one album, and the rest is fine. That's fine. Like everything else is okay, but it's the one album you need to have. Anything else can just go away. It's fine.
Speaking of the difference between 70s and 80s, have you seen Paul McCartney's documentary? It's fantastic.
I have not yet.
But his 80s music is not nearly, to me, as good as his 70s music.
It never is.
And that I keep saying podcast because podcasts are right here right now for me. But that Paul McCartney
Literally.
documentary, another plug here, that Paul McCartney documentary is excellent. And even this is for the young people out there, like if you want to know what the 70s were like, watch Paul McCartney's documentary because it really covers the 70s well. So, just in my opinion. IMOP. Wait, did that come out right? IMO. In my opinion,
There you go.
right? In my IMO.
I was trying to figure that one out.
I think with Mr. Carney trying to offer the lingo of
I feel like
Texting, some
I feel like the
texting.
music's about to come on,
All right.
which is a sign that I need to leave.
Thank you, Mr. Carney.
that's with a walk-off. Our first walk-off guest. He's left the studio. He's closing the door. He's waving goodbye.
Oh, shoot. That's fine.
Open's fine.
See you soon.
Thank you.